G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life, and today I'm going to be telling you the 5 things I love and 5 things I hate about my 2005 BMW M3 E46. The first thing that I absolutely love about my M3 is the straight 6. It has got to be up there as one of the most raucous and immediate engines you will come across in any car from this era. Just listen when you put your foot down at how this thing just goes. The second thing I love about my M3 is the exterior styling. The E46 in general, in my mind, is one of BMW's finest looking cars they ever made, but with the M3 they really took it to the next level. It's got wider fender flares, larger 19-inch wheels along with redesigned front and rear bumpers. The front one features ducts to cool the larger slotted front rotors, and then just small things like the quad tips at the back, the LED taillights. All of these little things come together to produce a truly sensational looking car to see on the road that doesn't look over-styled like a lot of BMWs of today. The third thing I love about my M3 is the interior. It's such a simple and timeless design on the inside of here, but when you look a bit closer, it has all the features that you could ever need. It's got a fairly comprehensive trip computer, and it's housed inside of some delightful looking grey gauges with the little LED lights that slowly move around as the engine warms up. Here on the steering wheel, the buttons are very simply laid out, which allow you to control the radio and your cruise control. It's got auto lights, auto wipers over here. The radio center stack here is stupidly easy to use, along with the climate control knobs down here. The seats are extremely comfortable and adjust electronically with 3 different memory settings down here. And while there isn't any particularly interesting colors, everything's just kind of black, silver and gray. It means that it doesn't age. You get in a car like this and everything still feels and looks great. Whereas if it was all full of screens or sort of colors from the era, in my mind, it would not look good today anymore. The fourth thing I love is the way this gearbox feels. When it was SMG, all you could do is flick away on the paddles, but I must admit, even the paddle shifters and the sort of digi-stick assembly down here actually felt quite good. But now that you can row through the gears of the Getrag's 6-speed manual transmission with your own fists of meat, it really does highlight how good BMW, and by extension Getrag, who actually made the gearbox, is at making a fantastic and engaging feeling manual transmission. And the best part from my perspective is that unfortunately a lot of especially modern manual gearboxes, ones in particular paired with electronic throttles, you just can't hammer through gears with them because they just don't really allow you to. Whereas this, you can go up and down gears as quickly as you please, and it will just do it. And the final thing that I absolutely love about my E46 M3 is that it is a front engine manual gearbox rear wheel drive with a limited slip diff combo, which is disastrously fun. So now, on to the dislikes. And the first thing that I've discovered through owning this car that I really don't like is the steering. To this day, I've really only owned E90 era BMWs. I've had 2 Z4s and a 130i. All of them had hydraulic steering and all of them felt really good, and they were very quick on center. You just turn it in and the car just responds. But look at how much sort of, how do you call it, play or just movement you need of the steering in this car to get it to turn to this corner. You're over half a rotation just to go through a fairly shallow hairpin bend, and with all these gentle corners you're just applying so much input. My 130i, which is a lesser normal just M Sport BMW, actually had better steering than my M3, and if I could somehow swap the steering rack out of my 1 Series and put it in this, it would improve the car to no end. The second issue is one that's not necessarily an issue of mine, but more a problem with my girlfriend Angel. Back when I had my 130i, it had dual zone climate control and heated seats, so wherever we went, everyone was happy. But as soon as I bought the M3, the issues suddenly became apparent. She was constantly complaining of being cold, and I'm sitting in here with a t-shirt on and she's got like 3 layers, and I'm like, it's still really hot in here. And we just couldn't win because this car doesn't have dual zone climate control or heated seats. Normally, I couldn't care less about those features, but because I have a girlfriend now, I've suddenly realised that they are actually quite important. And the third thing I don't particularly like on this car is the exhaust sound. The induction is lovely, but if I pull over here and put the GoPro on the rear bumper, you'll see that unfortunately, because the tips are really small, the exhaust noise is just so raspy. And when you hear it going past you at full chat, it doesn't sound bad, but it certainly doesn't sound good. The fourth thing that I don't particularly like is the gear ratios. I'm in third gear, and while it does have a lot of torque, on a normal New Zealand twisting back road like this, which is in theory where this car should be at its best, where my old 130i would only get to 85, 90 k's an hour in second, this gets to more than 100. And while you can do it, you're just never reaching those higher RPM bands, which you can on a motorway on-ramp, but where you really want to enjoy and exploit the car on a road like this, you're just sitting at 2,500, 3,000 RPM all the time. And the fifth frustration with my M3 is not really a problem with the car, it's more with me, the owner. This is by far and away the most expensive car I've ever bought. If I was to sell it today, it's probably worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $45,000. My ISF, which was my next most expensive car, was only 28 grand, and that's a Lexus, not a BMW. It does have me a little more worried than perhaps, say, my 130i did. All around the South Island and on 7 different track days, I just trusted it to keep working. And given how many Ks I did in it and how it was driven on track, I'd say that that was one of the most bulletproof cars I've ever owned. This, on the other hand, while I've done all the preventative maintenance and I have reasonable confidence that it's going to keep working, they were 150 grand new, so you're buying a car with $150,000 spare parts and issues. And for me, as a 23-year-old who's looking to buy a house, I'm not sure if that's the wisest decision. I guess what I've learned through the ownership of this car is that I'm happy owning just a normal 10 grand car. There's plenty of options in that sort of price range that you can enjoy, like with my Accord, like with my 130i, and like with my Legacy. This, while it's better than all those in every single way, it also costs 4 times as much. And I just don't know if I need that. On that thought, overall, my E46 M3 is a brilliant car, and I will look forward to many more kilometers being driven in it. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.